Welcome to Secret Agenda YouTube channel. This war, which the Russians started on the territory of Ukraine on February 24th, has affected many world states on a global scale for about 10 months. While Vladimir Putin's attitude towards this war caused global crises in the world, the heroes of Ukraine showed an example of a struggle for freedom. At the last point, world states have started to clearly define their ranks regarding the Ukraine-Russia war. The latest development regarding this war was an event that would put Russian leader Vladimir Putin into a nervous breakdown. With a move that has been secretly prepared for a while, Putin's plan to invade the entire Ukraine is undermined. And Ukraine, which fires more than 6,000 cannon missiles a day, has unlimited ammo. This certainly looks like it will thwart Russia's war of attrition and its simplistic strategies. A new agreement between the US and South Korea will allow South Korea manufacturers to sell 100,000 rounds of Howitzer artillery to the US for use in Ukraine. This is not a one-off deal, and it is likely that the US government will provide unlimited ammunition support to Ukraine through such agreements with its strategic and military partners. Currently, the Ukrainian Armed Forces fires a total of 6,000 rounds per day with 7 different NATO 155mm howitzers such as M777, M109 Platin, AHZ Crab, PZH-2000, French Caesar ACS. The Ukrainian Armed Forces has never had a problem with 155mm cannon ammunition in the 6-month period since May, and it seems that it will not have a shortage of ammunition from now on with the moves of the US government. Also, of course, the god of war in Ukraine, HIMARS, should not be ignored. The US military has announced that it will send $500 million worth of HIMARS missiles in its latest ammunition aid package for the Ukrainian army. In other words, the Ukrainian army will receive at least 500 M31A high-precision missiles for HIMARS. It is a clear fact that HIMARS and 155mm howitzers played a key role in Ukraine's success. And these war machines allowed Ukraine to liberate key cities such as Kharkiv, Kherson, and raise the morale of the Russian army. Undoubtedly, the biggest nightmare of the Russian army at the moment is the Ukrainian HIMARS and 155mm howitzers. With this move of the USA, Putin's plans to invade Ukraine are completely undermined. And while the secret move of the USA increases the resistance of Ukraine, it seems that it will pave the way for victory for them. The deal, which has been reported by the United States to be under construction for some time, will help Ukrainian forces strengthen their air defense and howitzer ammunition at a time when Russian forces have become heavily dependent on drones and missile strikes. This news will be a welcome development for US forces as well, given that the continued supply of arms and ammunition to Ukraine has had a significant impact on the US' own arms stockpiles. The deal has yet to be made public, although South Korea's Ministry of Defense has acknowledged that negotiations are ongoing. According to the South Korean government, the discussion revolves around the production and supply of 155mm shells. However, the ministry claimed that the deal was made on the assumption that the United States would be the end user of the shells, stating that South Korea planned to supply ammunition only for American use, allowing the United States to supply its own ammunition. This tactic was used throughout the war, as it allowed countries to contribute to Ukraine's war effort without providing weapons directly. Defense officials confirmed that the deal was designed to relieve pressure on American stockpiles, particularly howitzer ammunition. Ukraine has used large quantities of howitzer ammunition, and more of these weapons are needed to deal with the bombardment of Russian-Iranian kamikaze drone strikes. According to a senior US defense official, Russia currently fires 20,000 artillery shells against Ukrainian positions every day, and Ukraine fires 4,000 to 7,000 rounds a day, but Ukraine still needs a significant amount of artillery. The consumption rates in this war are very high. While the South Korean deal will help ease that pressure, 100,000 rounds of ammunition can only last so long. If current trends continue, South Korea's ammunition supplies are scheduled to reach Ukraine in about 14 to 25 days. In early November, the United States accused North Korea of secretly supplying artillery shells to Russian forces in Ukraine. According to US intelligence, North Korean shipments disguised as ammunition shipments to North Africa and the Middle East. However, it is reported that the equipment has reached invading troops in Russia and Ukraine. National Security Council Strategic Communications Coordinator John Kirby said in September that the Democratic People's Republic of Korea publicly denied any intention to supply Russia with ammunition. About this, Kirby said, "However, the information we have shows that North Korea is secretly supplying significant numbers of artillery shells to Russia's war in Ukraine, and is hiding the true destination of arms shipments by trying to make it look like they are being sent to Middle Eastern countries." The Korean peninsula is approximately 12,391 kilometers from Ukraine. Still, both North and South Korea now play a crucial role in the conflict between Moscow and Kyiv. Russia's rapprochement with North Korea further increases the importance of these two countries in the war. Given the enormous amount of shells fired by both sides, it is not surprising that Russia turned to North Korea to obtain ammunition to continue the war effort. North Korea has relied on weapon systems based on Soviet designs, and therefore its shells are compatible with those used by the Russian military. For this reason, it is claimed that North Korea provided assistance to Russia with military ammunition, albeit covertly. But unlike North Korea, nearly all of the former communist bloc countries in Europe, which also used Cold War-era military equipment, provided aid only to Ukraine. How much weapons Pyongyang can actually supply to Russia is still unknown. The Hermit Kingdom has endured United Nations sanctions in response to recent nuclear and ballistic missile tests. Therefore, any sale of weapons to Russia by North Korea would be a violation of UN resolutions, prohibiting Pyongyang from exporting or importing weapons from other countries. Although both Pyongyang and Moscow have denied the transfer of artillery shells and rockets, North Korea still sided with Russia on the war in Ukraine, and at the same time blames the United States for the crisis, insisting that the West's hegemonic policy forced Russia to take over. It's also unclear whether North Korean support for Russia has changed minds in South Korea, but until recently, Seoul had committed to sending only non-lethal equipment and supplies to aid Kyiv. Both North and South Korea have large stockpiles of ammunition due to decades of tensions along the heavily fortified and militarized border. It is also unclear whether North Korea will be able to supply its own shells, but the ammunition sent by South Korea will not come from its own military stockpiles, according to reports. It seems that the conflict in Ukraine is turning into a proxy war between the two Koreas, and all these developments show that the military support to be given to the Ukrainian heroes from South Korea seems to change the course of this war significantly. While statements of support came from South Korea to Kyiv government, humanitarian aid efforts gained momentum in Kherson, where the Ukrainian army achieved its latest historic victory. One of the biggest problems in the city, which was also visited by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, is accessing clean water. Khersonians use river water to get clean water. Ukrainians fill the cans and buckets they bring with them with water from the river, then boil this water to meet their drinking water needs. Food aid activities of non-governmental organizations for Kherson also accelerated. After the city was captured by the Russian forces, the families who left the city started to return to the city after Kherson was taken back, causing food shortages. The aid obtained through the efforts of the international community began to be brought to the city through the organization of non-governmental organizations. Although the Khersonians form long queues at the food distribution points, many are happy to have their native land reclaimed. In addition, the mining works continue in the city of Kherson and its surrounding settlements. A press tour was held for representatives of local and foreign media organizations to view the latest situation in the villages and towns of the Kherson region of Ukraine, where the Russian forces have withdrawn. During this trip, journalists were shown the ongoing mine search and clearing operations near the city of Kherson, where Russian forces were stationed until the end of last week. Particular attention was paid to the efforts of many demining teams to make the highway between the cities of Mykolaiv and Kherson and the connection roads around them safer. While the developments on the battlefield continue in favor of the Ukrainian heroes, it is estimated that the Russian forces will have much more trouble on the territory of Ukraine with the approach of the winter season. We will be with you again with new developments in the following processes. Thank you for watching us.